change is the only constant. It is extant and eternal. But the power to initiate change, to guide change, to control change, that is what eludes all of us. All of us want to make our contributions to society. All of us have ideas of Spartan changes that would lead to remarkable results. But the lack of means to meet the ends is what confines these to being just ideas. And those select few who do venture down that road inevitably find themselves at that dead end, where the only question on their minds is, what now? I believe there are two key instruments vital to effecting change. A major impediment to change is the general tendency to portray it as a quest for chivalrous knights in white armors. The anticipation of what would ensue inhibits us from acting in the present. This is called in psychology analysis paralysis. Hence, the first step of effecting change is to overcome this tongue twister of a syndrome. Because you see, change never happens at the summit levels. It is always change at the base that brings about a transformation at the peak. What we fail to fathom is that change isn't an odyssey. Change is an active undertaking. It is the integrating of an idea into your psyche. It is the ingraining of actions in your lifestyle. It is the instilling of a belief into your personality. You don't become a hermit and then start preaching change. You fuel change by proactive measures. The second instrument is actually a blend of two factors pivotal to bringing about change: targeted multiplication and the multiplier effect. Once you have internalized the change, the next step is to project it onto others. Targeted multiplication focuses on selecting a specific section of the society and rousing them of a cause. You, as a facilitator, make an appeal tailored to your target. That appeal may be rational or emotive, prudent or philosophical, and then you provide them with the defined prescription of what you ask of them. You can spend an entire month working on just your immediate family, but ultimately, if you're successful in sowing in them that seed of passion towards your cause, you have achieved a milestone. The second instrument is the multiplier effect. It is a phenomenon that has transcended boundaries of disciplines, and it arose from a learning, a holistic learning of various subjects. The idea behind the multiplier effect is to catalyze change by triggering a chain reaction. It is what they call in economics the demonstration effect. It is the principle on which all advertisements are based. It articulates a very common idea that if you create a positive market sentiment, all you need is for one person to buy that product to stimulate a fission. As soon as a few people buy it, others will most definitely follow suit for reasons of their own. It may have piqued the interest of some. It may be particularly utilitarian to another few. Some may want to do it to maintain an outgoing demeanor, while there will also be those who will do it to not seem uncouth. It is what they call in the fashion industry as making a style statement. All of us here are clothed according to what we believe are the norms for appropriate clothing. But if someone amongst us, say this lady right here, conceived and executed an unconventional idea, she would certainly be conscious of herself and very, very anxious of all the stares. But ultimately, that is what will set a trend. A bizarre idea will come into vogue only because one person had the will to execute it. We have all seen ripples form in water at the slightest disturbance. What explains this phenomenon is an extrapolation of the Huygens principle. It states that every disturbance on the medium acts as a fresh source of disturbance, and thereby each disturbance creates new waves. A single drop of water does not undulate in isolation. The momentum imparted to one drop exudes to all its neighbors, and thus each disturbance creates new waves, magnifying a single disturbance to ripples. History is replete with examples of how change is multiplied. Let us take, for instance, the Revolt of 1857, the first struggle against colonial rule. Mangal Pandey struck off just one domino by leading the protest against the greased cartridges of the Enfield rifles. but the ball he set rolling was beyond his wildest imaginations. What had started as an insurrection in the army soon took on eclectic dimensions: economic, political, socio-religious. Of course, the revolt was a political and a martial failure, but its triumph was in the fact that it obliged people from different walks of life to converge to accomplish something in national interest. The cry for change of order by one person was emulated successively, and it magnified manifold. An even more befitting analogy of the multiplier effect would be with pedagogy, especially that at the school level. You see, schools are not just educational institutions. Schools are a platform where children belonging to different strata of the society congregate to be nurtured. The school has at their disposal an assembly of young, impressionable souls. If the school embosses on their minds values fostering constructive change, the impact of it is enduring. Working with children in their formative years has three distinctive advantages. One, their tender minds are ever so ready to absorb change. Second, the earlier one sets on the path of change, the stronger is the resolve for change. And third, and the most importantly, children are ultimately the ones who will carry these changes the furthest. Long has change been talked of. We as a school decided it was time to be the change. Deeply perturbed by the state of decadence our environment was in, we decided to make our own experiments with change. The issues that our environment faces are not alien to us. They are a harsh truth of our reality. We have dreamed, we have deliberated, we have debated, but we have never ever moved beyond symbolism. Our fields are dying. Our waters are dirtier than ever. We stand on the verge of exhausting our energy resources. The very air we breathe threatens to kill us, and all the while, we remain stoical. When Neil Armstrong took his first step on the moon, it was hailed as a small step for a man, but a giant leap for mankind. We began in our own school on a small level. We started off with dedicated awareness campaigns for each wing. Subsequently, a cleanliness drive was organized in the vicinity of the school. 113 students and 13 teachers traced the boundaries of the school and culminated at the sector's market. Once there, they interacted with shopkeepers and store owners to rouse them of our cause. In order to minimize the use of plastic, we implored the school authorities to decree mandatory use of steel lunchboxes and steel water bottles. This undertaking was not to boost waste consumption, as many people have questioned. The logic behind it was to deter our school students and staffers from opting for plastic items in the future. From there, we commenced phase 2. Concrete developments in the sphere of ecological conservation are atypical by themselves. But on those few chance occasions that they did happen, students were always kept out of the loop. 35% of the world's population was kept out of the loop. We believe that alone we might make just a small difference to Mother Earth. But if all the student community of Delhi NCR joined hands, the difference we could make would actually be significant. What we had envisioned was a collaboration of schools pledged in solidarity towards fostering the ecosystem. We thought of making it a paperless event altogether, and thus we went ahead with sending e-invites. Now the response we got to that wasn't certainly too heartening. But we had to make a second try. This time we set out in different directions to propagate the idea in person. And thus was born Ahvan, out of the core belief of the power of actions over that of words. With Ahvan, we gave environmental conservation the tag of a competition wherein each participating school was asked to take up a project that would have a ground impact and alleviate actual environmental conditions. The tag sought to tap on the potential, the immense potential of the human sense of self. Declaring Ahvan to be a competition killed two birds with one stone. Not only did it incentivize participation, it ensured sustenance of momentum. Finally, our efforts bore fruit, and we had some institutions who fell in line with our thoughts. The ball was now rolling. Keeping in mind the importance allied to environmental conservation in our culture, the concept of Panch Tattva, or the 5 elements of nature, was chosen as the theme for the event. Participants had to take up activities categorized under the 5 heads of air, water, earth, energy, and ether. The work done under the banner of Avan has been pervasive and praiseworthy. If we look at the beginnings made here in our own school, in the Tattva of air, an audit of trees was conducted. It is scientifically established that a fully grown tree can provide enough oxygen for 25 people. We were pleasantly surprised to find that our school has a working strength of 2,000 with over 115 mature trees, putting the ratio well under 25:1. Thereafter, students of class 6 were tasked with identifying plants with the greatest oxygen output. They came up with names like the snake plant, the money plant, and the areca palm. After consultation with botany faculty, these plants were procured from nurseries and planted in our school. Under the Tattva of Earth, an activity was organized for the students of the pre-primary wing. They were asked to donate old jeans to the school. Out of these discarded clothing, we decided to make bags, and these school bags were distributed to the students. In the Tattva of energy, we decided to make a shift towards renewable energy, and our school signed for solar panels rated at 50 kilowatts. Our participants have also executed some exceptionally inspiring activities, especially in the domains of earth, energy, and ether. The sheer novelty and perseverance of some of these ideas have left us awestruck. In the Tattva of earth, 3 activities have been particularly noteworthy. One participating school organized industrial-scale manufacture of manure from the waste generated within the school. Another participant arranged for recycling of paper. They collected all waste paper from within their school and outside and made fresh notebooks out of them. Another yet participating school organized for organic holy color making activities to promote ecologically friendly products. In the Tattva of ether, we had a school with us that expanded the scope of the term environment, and they adopted a village. Students and teachers from the school made regular visits to the village and educated them about hygiene and sanitation. Let us take a moment to reflect upon the bringing of change by Avan. First, it roused people to be dynamic eco-crusaders. All participants are vowed to actively implement measures with tangible impacts on the environment. Second, it targeted a segment of the society and inducted them into the movement. And third, the hallmark of Avan, its outreach. It engaged with 13 schools, and with each participating school, 2,000 families were associated with the cause, thus compounding the effect of Avan. And there lie your instruments of change: conquest over analysis paralysis, targeted multiplication, and the multiplier effect. In absolute, the impact Avan made was perhaps trivial. Its resounding success was in the fact that it united minds towards making this world a better place. I'd like to conclude on the note: the next time you get the temptation to resist or avoid change, aim instead to initiate the ones that lead you to where you want to be. And remember, if there were no chains, there'd be no butterflies. Thank you.